My name's Alexis Bailey. I'm Tristan's second oldest sister.
And just for the court to order, if you would just tell the court the order of the sibling.
So my oldest sister is Brittany Bailey. Again, I'm Alexis Bailey. I'm the second oldest sister, followed by my brother Tegan Bailey, Sophia Bailey, and then Tristan was the youngest of the family.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
$114. Of course. This jar now holds 114 stones, one for each of the 114 stab wounds that my sister had to endure. It was 1 hour and 42 minutes between when my sister was last seen and when Aiden Fucci was next seen, running out of the woods holding his shoes because his feet hurt. It's funny that such a simple statement can bring such anger. Aiden Fucci could show compassion for his sore feet, yet had nothing to leave for my beautiful sister. The number of questions I have for Aiden Fucci surrounding that night plague my mind. Did she see you coming at her with the knife, or did you stab her while she wasn't paying attention? Did she scream out for help, or was she paralyzed with agony? Did she cry for my mother? Did she beg you to stop? Did you hear her lungs gargling with blood? Or did you see it in her face when she realized she could no longer breathe due to her collapsed lungs? What were her last words? Did you stay to watch her die? Or did you leave her there in agonizing pain as you ran away? How long did she suffer? Did you watch the life leave her eyes? Do you know the answer to any of these questions, or were you too caught up in the thrill of the kill? The last time I heard my sister's voice was May 8th, 2021. I have racked my brains trying to remember the last words she said to me. Was it "I love you"? Was it goodbye? Or did we say nothing at all? What I do remember is her walking out that door. I have nightmares about that moment. In my dreams, I try to reach out and grab her, beg her to spend the night, anything to prevent what happened just hours later, yet every time the door closes before I can get to her. The memories of May 9th will forever be ingrained in my mind, body, and soul. To know I was awake and only 11 minutes away from my sister as she was being brutally murdered. Could I have saved her? I remember the vivid feelings of my body collapsing on the ground as the police informed us that they had found a body. Then, finding out hours later it was Tristan's body, I remember becoming physically ill and having a detective grip my hair as my body uncontrollably expelled everything from my stomach between my sobs. The pain I felt in every nerve as I watched my dad lying on the floor, screaming in a way no human should ever be able to produce. Our family broke that day, and I don't recognize any of us anymore. I have watched my parents going from believing that they were good parents to believing they were failures. I have listened to my parents question, what did we do wrong? What kind of mother or father was I not to protect my child? I have watched them overanalyze every conversation, every action, trying to figure out what they could have done differently. I've watched my older sister, Brittany, become unrecognizable with anger. I've watched my brother, Tegan, emotionally shut down and avoid the family due to the pain being home causes. I've watched my younger sister, Sophia, completely lose her childhood and be cast into the role of being a parent and being the resident therapist for my mother. I've seen the changes in myself, the responsibilities and burden that I have had to undertake because of the actions of Aiden Fucci. I am the one who had the responsibility of speaking with the funeral home and forcing my parents to decide which urn to put what remained of Tristan in. I was the one who had to pick her up from the funeral home and make that long drive home with her ashes. I have what remains of her beautiful blonde hair, now stained red, sitting in my house haunting me daily. I have had to become the safe place for my parents and hold space for their feelings. I have had to commit every detail of Tristan's murder to memory so that whenever someone has a question, they need only ask and not be burdened with looking up the answers themselves through the hundreds of pages of court documents and police records. I bear the thoughts that one day the trauma we have all been through because of the actions of Aiden Fucci will cost the lives of my other family members. I have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. I have been unable to work at times during this process due to the trauma and PTSD attacks triggered by knives, blood, and open wounds. My relationships have suffered. My physical and mental health has diminished, and my goals for the future have seemingly disappeared. Aiden Fucci didn't just take Tristan's life that day. He took everything from us. Our family, sense of security, laughs, health, and potential. For us, justice does not exist in this case, and closure does not exist in this case. Peace, understanding, and forgiveness will never come. The duty of this court today is to determine and weigh all the factors in this case, to decide the just sentence for the crimes Aiden Fucci committed, with retribution and potential rehabilitation sadly being considered. The only justifiable sentence in this case is a full life sentence. Anything short of that would be an insult to not only our justice system and community, but to our family and Tristan's legacy. Lastly, I would like to add my own stone to the 114 that I added for Tristan. This white stone represents my trust in people, which died the day that Aiden Fucci chose to kill my sister. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alexis. State would call Tegan Bailey.
Your Honor, on Saturday, May 8th, 2021, I came home to spend time with family and celebrate Mother's Day the following day. When I arrived home that afternoon, we quickly made plans to go to dinner. My dad, mom, Sophia, Tristan, my niece, and I went to dinner. There wasn't a single sign that this would be our last night together, what I believe was Tristan's last meal. Shy of my older sisters Brittany and Alexis being present, the dinner was perfect. My niece was playing with her food, trying to crawl under the table. We talked about when we lived in Singapore. My dad supplied ample comedy and smiles in a way that only siblings can. Tristan and I silently made a pact and messed with Sophia during dinner, the way only siblings know how to do. It was perfectly imperfect. I would give anything to either stay at the table a few minutes longer or to have had Brittany and Alexis there as well. Following dinner, we visited Alexis and then went home. I went on a late walk with Sophia to reach my exercise goal for the day, which I talked with Tristan about when we got back. Finally, Sophia, Tristan, and I started to watch TV. I began to fall asleep on the couch until I finally excused myself to go to bed. Every single day, I can't help but wonder what would have happened had I slept on that couch instead, or if I had stayed up later. Tristan was a 13-year-old. She had a personality brighter than fireworks, and she was being a teenager. But had I slept on that couch that was within earshot of our front door, there's a possibility my little sister could still be alive today. I have lived with that question, that weight, and that guilt since I went to wake up Tristan on Mother's Day and found her room empty. The day we lost Tristan, I began running mentally and emotionally to try to cope and survive. Anytime I slow down, every detail of that day, this court process, and the memories of Tristan flood my mind and threaten to cripple me. So mentally, I put this all into a box and I run from it. I will run to school, to work, to friends, and at times I ran to alcohol. I was desperate for anything that would numb and convince me that this is not real life, rather a sick and cruel nightmare I can't seem to wake up from. This is real though. My baby sister, who always had a sassy reply ready and a heart filled with kindness, is gone. The depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder is real. The weekly therapy sessions to learn how to cope and make it this far is real. The waves of anxiety I experience when I walk around Durban Crossing at night are real. Every time I see or use a knife, the intrusive thoughts of the damage that they can inflict is real. The nights where sleep is replaced with the heinous details of what Tristan suffered are real. The nights where I drank to black out and put myself in danger are real. The week-long depressive episodes where I break down and struggle to leave my bed are real. The classes I withdrew from because grieving and being a student was too much are real. The breakdowns that erupt from songs that remind me of Tristan are real. Even things as small as a red cardinal bird will bring my day to a stop. There's an old wives' tale that when you see a red cardinal, it is someone from heaven checking on you. I can only hope that each one is a sign from Tristan telling me she's still cheering me on. Yet they are each a painful reminder of what I have lost. They are each a reminder of how I failed Tristan. Despite countless reassurances, I continually weather by sleeping on that couch, being at home more, reaching out more, or a million other things if I may have been able to prevent her death. But no matter how much I may try to run, distract, or numb myself, this is my reality. A reality where Aqua and Teal fill me with pride, love, and pain. A reality where I am terrified and furious at other teenage boys because a single 14-year-old broke my family. A reality where instead of a cheer trophy, a family portrait, or a million other things, my sister's remains sit on a shelf at home in an aqua urn that glimmers brighter than a star. A reality that is so painful to live in, I continue to run and numb myself to it, trying to escape the pain and reminders of what I have lost. In the process of trying to numb myself and outrun this, I cause myself to lose even more. By not handling my grief head on, academically, I sacrificed a multitude of opportunities within my courses and with professors. Socially, I was alone. While I have an astounding support system where I live in Gainesville, Tristan's story and her spirit are not as well known there as they are in St. John's. Few are able to understand the hardship of losing a family member, much less losing them to a gruesome homicide. I felt that I became a burden and disconnected from a multitude of people that I once treasured, despite the fact that these were the very people trying to support me. Emotionally, I shut down every time I was asked, "How are you doing?" As there are no words to convey the misery that was born from my grief and my sense of isolation. I would like to address Mr. Aiden Fucci. Today I want to take the time to address whatever humanity you still possess. Since learning of your existence and the agony inflicted upon my family, I have convinced myself you are something other than human. I refuse to use your name to believe that you're a regular person. To believe that you are human would be to accept that the darkness that has marked my family could come from ordinary people, something which causes me to lose all hope. So I convince myself you must be something less than human, and that people can still be good. But you are human. Between investigative evidence and individuals in the St. John's community, my family and I have learned more about your life than we ever cared to know. Part of this included learning that you have siblings and a younger sister at that. I'm sorry, I lost my place. I have 4 sisters, 2 older and 2 younger sisters, including Tristan. While you may have siblings, I don't believe you know what it means to be a brother. Having siblings is a job, a responsibility, and a privilege. Being a brother to sisters means being there to support them, to listen, to celebrate them, and to be there for them when they're in need, and so much more. You took one of my sisters away from me. I will not get Striver to cheer, listen to her spill the tea, celebrate her achievements, or spoil her with trips to Starbucks for a double chocolate chip grande frappuccino. If I ever have children, none of them will ever get to meet their aunt. I will never get to brag to others about Tristan's determination and her persistence in pursuing her goals. Because when Tristan had a goal, she accomplished her goal. Because of your actions, I cannot fulfill my role as Tristan's big brother. While I am so fortunate to be blessed with 3 other amazing and unique sisters who inspire me and remind me of what life has to offer, you took away my baby sister. I want you to think of your own siblings, your own sister. Just as I have lost my sister, they have lost their brother. At the end of this, you will be in prison. They will not get to lean on you for support. You won't be able to celebrate with them or grow old with them. They have lost their brother. You have lost your siblings. You have failed as a brother. My siblings and I didn't just lose a sister. My parents lost a daughter. Tristan's friends lost a goofball who brought a smile by walking into the room. The cheer community lost a teammate who was an unwavering pillar of spirit and perseverance. The world lost a young woman who, after binge-watching Grey's Anatomy, became inspired to become a doctor. We lost the chance to see Tristan graduate high school. We lost the chance to see Tristan attend and graduate college. We lost the chance to see Tristan find love and have her own family. Not only do we have to grieve Tristan and her past, we have to grieve the person she did not have a chance to become and everything she never got to do or achieve. Since losing Tristan, I've heard through countless conversations what can happen to her murderer. This court is able to impose between a 40-year sentence up to a life sentence. Several weeks ago, we sat in this building as the court reviewed a motion to limit autopsy photos to be shown during the trial, a trial which we fortunately did not have to go through. Among several things that came out during that hearing, I recall that there were 6 wounds that had been considered fatal. However, even in shy of these 6 wounds that my sister suffered, no one would have been able to survive the cumulative 108 other wounds. My sister was stabbed 114 times. 49 of those wounds were defensive. While some may view these as simple facts of the case, these are the thoughts that will plague the mind of Tristan's community, friends, family, and myself for the rest of our lives. Tristan's fought for her life, and my mind has tormented me since, with all of the details of what she went through and what she must have felt. This is a burden we collectively have to carry for decades to come. In light of this, a life sentence for her murder seems nearly merciful. His wrongdoings reaped not only the remainder of Tristan's life, but cursed the lives of countless others. Why should he be allowed to serve a single sentence while so many others must serve our own sentences because of their choices? If it were possible, I would plead the court to give a harsher sentence than light. But in the light of the current state of the law, I can only hope that he will be given the maximum sentence. I add this stone for the hope and belief I had in people being good that died the day that Aiden Fucci murdered my sister.
Your Honor, my name is Brittany Bailey Russell, and I am Tristan's oldest sibling. When I was told we had the opportunity to write an impact statement, I immediately got to work. Writing comes natural to me, but I knew the importance this statement would hold, and I knew I needed more time than any piece I had written in the past. For months, I have attempted to put pen to paper to express the magnitude of this catastrophe we face every second of every day. Yet every time I met with complete writer's block. Not the kind of writer's block where you have nothing to say, but the kind of writer's block where you cannot find words impactful enough to describe the devastation this has caused on my family. Your Honor, I could stand up here today and tell you what little I can remember from May 9th, 2021, how I was on day 1 of my honeymoon with my husband and woke up to an alarming call from my sister Alexis saying, "Brace yourself, we can't find Tristan. We're about to post it on social media." I could express the sense of darkness and terror I felt just being over 1,900 miles away from my panic-struck family, feeling absolutely helpless that I could not search, comfort, or engage with my squad, as Tristan would put it. I could even go into great detail about the blood-curdling and excruciating screams that ejected from my dad's lungs, the bottom of his lungs, while my husband and I sat on the other end of that FaceTime call, crumbling to the MGM hotel room floor, sobbing our eyes out, praying to God the news of where Tristan wasn't our biggest fear. And if the court really wants to hear the most graphic of it all, I could tell you about the days to follow when I heard the fatal wail that bursted from my mom in the other room when Detective Hannon delivered the news to just my parents on how Tristan died that Mother's Day. I wasn't even privy to the no at that point, but the crippling sound that my mom let out, I knew it was something unimaginable. I remember this torturous feeling that took over my body as I ran to the bathroom, slamming the door, banging both hands on the wall, screaming, "Why? How? How is this happening?" I didn't stop until my dad ran in, grabbed me, hugged me, and kept telling me, "Be brave for your mom. Do it for your mom." As later we learned, that friend Tristan thought she had ambushed our youngest Bailey by stabbing her 114 times, over and over and over, to the point where we all know, she fought her fight and had nothing left in her body to give. And yet he continued, like an absolute coward. You, Aiden Fucci, decided to overpower a 5'3" innocent 13-year-old girl. How much more of a coward could you possibly be? Those feelings that took over my body that day, I could go my whole life without feeling again. I can promise you one thing, I do not ever want to be that brave in my lifetime yet. Here I am, standing in front of this courtroom, exposing my vulnerability, peeling back layers of my PTSD in this unsafe and very overwhelming environment. While I sit here publicly reliving tad bits of our worst nightmare, I recognize that none of these horrific memories will bring Tristan back. It truly just pains me more to have to relive them, to talk about it, to feel those feelings all over again like it happened yesterday. What I can confidently express to the court is, since my sister's murder, I agonize at the thought of leaving Florida for travel, something that was once engraved in my DNA. I lack prioritizing my husband, and I carelessly watch my marriage crumble before my eyes. I now carry emergency medication to control the unexpected tightening of the chest and inability to breathe, something doctors call post-traumatic stress disorder. I spend 2 hours every Sunday morning with my family therapist, a day that used to be Bailey Family Fun Day on Sunday. I struggle with mental health expenses and impulse buying in hopes to find control, something my husband and I were not financially prepared for. I've lost clients due to the inability to work. I rely on my vehicle as a safe place to release the uncontrollable rage that takes over my body. I fight my emotions in my own household in hopes my 4-year-old daughter doesn't try to console me, her mother, something no toddler should ever feel compelled to do. I find my husband more times than not peeling me up off our closet floor, drenched in my own tears. I've lost count of how many glasses I've shattered over the anger that's unbearable. I look at myself in the mirror and I don't recognize the person I am anymore. My weight, my happiness, my skin, my personality, my love for life, all gone. My sister was robbed of what could have been an incredible future. Imagine growing up in a household of 7, traveling the world for my dad's job, relying on each other as best friends because we only had each other during all of those moves, meeting friends who became family across the globe, and having the most loving and supporting parents you could ever ask for. Just for perspective, I'm a hairstylist, and my parents opened a salon in St. Johns County. Alexis has a passion for animals, and my parents openly allowed her zoo to live under their roof. Tegan's draw to coffee and books at University of Florida enticed him to continue on to grad school, which my parents could not be more proud of. Sophia, our lacrosse all-star, was just accepted to Colorado Mesa University to play goalie, and once again, my parents could not be more on board, even though this means there are 2 flights between their child and them. And as for Tristan, cheerleading was her life, and because it was her life, it was my mom's life too. My parents have sacrificed their needs and wants for their children for 30 years. I've never met such selfless people. And to think one of the 5 of us won't get to see that fully through, Your Honor, I can't put a word to it. Agony isn't painful enough. Shattered to the core doesn't crumble like how I feel. Infuriated doesn't even come close to touching the amount of rage I find myself trapped in. And let me tell you, justice is just a word for comfort. It doesn't bring her back. It doesn't allow her to see if she would have made worlds or become a college cheerleader. It does nothing but put this inhumane, cold-blooded killer away for good. I ask you to remember how much my sister lost and will continue to lose as the years pass by because of one vile decision this ruthless, unremorseful villain made. His apology was a waste of oxygen and meant nothing. It was cold, it was callous, and it was disheartening, and it left my family feeling absolutely tormented. Once again, a word not pungent enough to express the degree of what we felt, but it's the best the dictionary could offer. In Tristan's name, I will fight till the end to make sure my children, my siblings, my family, and our community will never see Aiden Fucci in society again. I respectfully ask for you to do the same. This white stone represents my loss in faith in our school systems to keep violent children away from the innocent. We are forever Tristan Bailey strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.